Good morning. Why don't we stand together? It's good to be together. We're going to start, as we always do, by hearing Jesus calling us himself. So I've actually asked Ronan to read that for us this morning. So let's hear Jesus' words for us to start this morning.
All that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. My yoke is easy, my burden is light.
Remember Jesus' heart for you. You don't have to perform. It's not about what you bring. It's about trusting in what Christ has done for you. So we're going to praise him this morning for all that he's done this morning. So let's sing together. O Lord my God, I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder.
Sings my soul, my
Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Lord, I come, I confess, bowing near, I find my rest, and without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Sing my your grace is more. When grace is found, is where you are. And where you are, Lord, I am free. And holiness is Christ in me. Where you are,
right, good morning and welcome to chapel. I'm typically the one that gets to introduce our speakers each week, and some weeks, like last week, the speaker that I introduce is someone who's relatively new to me. I haven't met them before, or I've met them just briefly, and then sometimes I get to introduce a speaker to you who is an old and dear friend. And so when Stacy arrived at Western today, we hugged, we talked for a little bit. Stacy and I actually attended Western together. I'm older than he is, just a tiny little bit. And here's the cool thing. God's going to introduce people into your lives all lifelong, right? And some people he's going to introduce to you later on in life. And then one of the sweetest surprises, I think, is when God introduces someone into your life and then he allows your paths to cross again, and then maybe 10 years later, again and again. And when you encounter those people, you not only think, wow, God is doing incredible things in that person's life, but it makes you stand back and you think, we have a really, really good God, and he gives us those friendships. So I'm welcoming a friend to share some ideas with you today. I do want you to know a little bit about Stacy, though. So Stacy is a 1989 graduate of Western. He played basketball. When he left Western as a career leader in points scored, in rebounds, and in blocked shots. Stacy went on to play at the University of Sioux Falls. He also played basketball professionally in Sweden, and he has served in the Army as a military intelligence officer and in the Air Force as a lawyer, and he has been a civilian lawyer for almost 20 years. So I would just love for you to join me in welcoming Stacy Kooistra.
That's How to Mr. Altman here. It's been a long time, sir. Nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. It's energizing to be here in the old gym, right? The event center. I'm not comfortable with that name yet. But it really is a privilege to be here this morning and to see all of you. I was here 2 years ago and had the privilege of speaking then. And what I talked about then is I focused on wisdom in Ecclesiastes, right? And I emphasized, as Karen I know remembers, because we talked about it, the conclusion of the matter, right? Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13, fear God and keep his commandments, for that's the duty of all mankind, right? And along with that, I shared what I believe to be a fundamental opportunity in life for all of us, and what has been a blessing for me. And so one of my first pieces of advice to you this morning, I'm a lawyer, I'm sorry, I give advice. It's a habit. My first advice to you is, in addition to whatever regular Bible study you do in life, whatever that may be, read a chapter of Proverbs or Ecclesiastes or James every morning. First thing you do. Now, I gave that advice 2 years ago. And at the time, what that means is that the juniors and seniors here today were freshmen and sophomores then, right? So I've thought about asking for a show of hands to see who took my advice last time. I've been doing that for 2 years. But I won't do that. I won't embarrass anybody. But I'm serious about that, and I will tell you why, right? And it's easy peasy, right? It's low risk, it's high reward. So I would encourage you to consider that, because it will give you a daily infusion of perspective and a daily dose of wisdom for sure. I've had a lot of years behind me now that have reinforced that practice in my life, and I'm not perfect with it, but I try. And it's led to a continued conviction that it's a good thing to do. And the reason I find that so important, and the reason I am communicating that to you this morning, again, for the second time, is because I want all of you to understand that you are a very strategic group of humans. Okay? Our society and our Christian community desperately needs each of you to do well, right? Each of you to do well. And so that's why I want to invest that in you. That's why I like sharing it. And the fact that you go to Western tells me somebody's already significantly investing in you and in your future. And so please bear that in mind. This morning I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. And I want to do that because what I hope is that the theme of that for you is that you understand that you can go anywhere from Western, okay? I have been blessed in my life, and I will tell you that in my maybe somewhat biased opinion, but also informed by a lot of years in a lot of different places, that this is the finest foundation that you could have for the rest of your life, and you can truly go anywhere from here. So I also want to share some advice with you. Again, I'm a lawyer, I can't help myself. But I want to encourage you with that, and if I give just one of you some insight this morning that helps you or empowers you, then this certainly for me was time well spent. So I grew up in Rock Valley. I went to Rock Valley Christian, and I'm a graduate of Western, right? And I did have the privilege and opportunity of playing for the legendary Jim Ecoff here at Western, and it was a great time of life, and I did have some individual opportunities there. But one of the things that I like to talk about to a certain extent when I come back to Western is that as a team, we were an outstanding team, and we lost on a last-second three-pointer, one step away from the state championship game. And as a young man, for me, that was a crushing blow, right, in my life, and it was a hard one. But what hopefully you've learned and are learning is that you learn more in life from losses than from wins. And I had to own that, right? It's easy in a team sport to start looking around to your right and left, or think about somebody who failed to do something that could have made that difference. And it gave me an opportunity over time to understand that I was the one that owned that responsibility. And frankly, I never wanted to feel that again in my life. And so with apologies to Coach Ecoff, that's when I really started taking my basketball career seriously. When I left Western, I had the opportunity. I was invited to play on a team, and I did take it seriously, by the way. I mean, Coach, I was trying my best. Please, no. Okay, thank you. I don't know if he's going to buy me lunch yet today or not. We're going to have lunch, so we'll see. We'll see. Probably not now. So I was invited after I left Western to go with what they called at the time an Iowa USA team to tour Europe. And so we did that. We practiced a couple times in the Des Moines area, and then we toured Northern Europe the summer after I graduated from here. And what happened is we played teams, club teams, and what I learned is that they were professional teams and that they paid American players to come to Europe. Now, being from Rock Valley and going to high school here in Hull, that seemed like a pretty cool thing, right? It really opened my eyes to the world that was out there. And so thus was born my desire to play professionally overseas. So we came back, and I went to the University of South Dakota, actually, is where I started my college basketball career. And I had a coach there, unlike here, a coach that didn't seem to like me very much. And I couldn't figure out why. And one of the things that I found was that he was new to the role. And what I learned later is that his recruiting focus was on junior college players, and that his assistant coach focused on recruiting the high school players. And I got along famously with the assistant coach. But it seemed like no matter what I did and how I did it, I could not earn his favor, and I couldn't get on the court. One of the things that he did do for me is, in our freshman year, he offered us the opportunity to go to Minneapolis and spend the summers up there playing basketball with the best NBA and Division I college players that Minneapolis had to offer. And I did take him up on that. And I made some friends up there. And one of those in particular was a guy who had played overseas for about 9 years in Spain and Greece. And he had bought a home, and so he invited me back the following summer to live with him and his family, and I trained and practiced with him and played in several leagues up there in the summer for 4 more years after that summer. And I got better. And I got quite a bit better because, as we all know, hard work pays off, right? So back to USD, didn't seem to matter. And so once again, Western Christian surfaced in my life. And the way that happened is that my former JV coach here and assistant varsity coach got the head coaching job at the University of Sioux Falls, which at the time was called Sioux Falls College. And three of my friends who were playing for him kind of recruited me, kind of in violation of every NCAA recruiting rule that existed at the time. But they persuaded me to come to Sioux Falls and play with them. It was Bill Harmson, Joe Mulder, and Eric Helderman. And I think Eric Helderman was the homecoming speaker last year. So there you go. But I want to give you a piece of advice about the USD component. Is something that you will find in your life is that there are some people who aren't going to like you and people who are not going to believe in you no matter what you do, right? And sometimes, and maybe most of the time, that is not a commentary on you, okay? As an employer, one of the things that I found that is crucial, a crucial skill and ability in life is what they call emotional intelligence, right? It's the ability to see yourself through the eyes of someone else. And if you find someone who doesn't like you or doesn't support you, take a little time and think about it from their perspective to see why that is. But what will happen at times is it doesn't matter what you do, and there will be times in your life where you have to decide that that person is better off not being in your life. And that applies to friends as well, right? There are some cliches that I like, that I use for young people. And one of them is, show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right? And the other is that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you hit pause once in a while and think about that, right? And think about what your goals and your dreams and what you hope to accomplish. Just think about that. It doesn't mean you need to exclude people from your life, but at times you should not consider people's perspectives about you as a commentary on yourself. So back to Sioux Falls. I transferred to Sioux Falls. We had an excellent couple of years there. I was able to garner some attention individually, but during my time in Minneapolis and here, I tried to find anybody I could who played in Europe or knew how to play in Europe, and I asked them how to do it. And ironically, it was a local guy that played at Northwestern. But he became a friend, and he had been playing in Sweden professionally, and I gave him my film. And he took that film to Sweden, and he had a teammate whose dad was on the board of directors for a club looking for an American player. They watched my film, they liked it, they called me, we negotiated a contract, they mailed me an airplane ticket, I packed 2 duffel bags, and I moved to Sweden, having no idea what awaited me there. But the piece of advice I would give you related to that part of my story is that I was not the best player out there in the sea of players who had hoped to play professionally. Right? There are a lot of medium-sized, medium-height players with a lot of skill who wanted to go over there. But at the time, because of the experiences that I had and the focus and the interest that I had in doing that, I just out-hustled them. That is just the bottom line. And it was grit, and it was hustle, and finding anybody I could find to do that. And so that's how it happened. And I would urge you, if you have that calling in your life, to consider doing the same thing, right? And I would also tell you that if your dreams don't scare you, even if just a little bit, then they're probably not big enough. The other lesson I would give you is find a mentor, right? We've got, I don't know how many people in here, so we've got that many number of different career goals and aspirations in here, right? But if you find somebody that you admire or somebody who's done well in a field or an area that you would like to enter, read their bio and find out what they did to get there. Or what is more, reach out to them, talk to them, ask them how they did it, ask them if they will mentor you, right? That can be an uncomfortable thing, but it gets easier when you do it. And I will tell you, successful people are willing to help you with that. And truly successful people want to help other people succeed. And so do not be intimidated by reaching out to people that you think may be up here doing this kind of thing. They're just people, right? I've been blessed with contact with a lot of people who've done a lot of different things, and they love by and large, those successful people love helping young people. So I had an amazing time in Sweden. We had a great time on the court. My Swedish teammates became lifelong friends. To this day, we remain in contact. But most importantly, I met my future wife there. And I decided to stop playing in Sweden because I wanted to do other things in life. Right? A lot of guys go out there, they play, and a lot of them will play for as long as they can. And a lot of them want to be coaches. And I didn't want to be a coach. I wanted to try some other things, and so that was time to try something else. So I came back to the States. I went to graduate school, pursued a master's degree, and I enlisted in the Army, which seemed like a strange decision at the time, and in a way it still seems a little bit strange, but that too felt like a calling and has been an amazing blessing in my life. I went to the Empire Mall in Sioux Falls. I asked them if they would send me to Germany. They said yes. I signed up, and they sent me to Germany. I had basic training and advanced individual training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Went to Germany. My future wife that I referenced, she obviously speaks Swedish. She speaks German. And so she moved to Germany, and we dated for a couple years while I was assigned there. And we got married in Sweden shortly before I came back to the States. The Army sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I was commissioned as a military intelligence officer. And I did that for 3 years in the 1st Infantry Division at Fort Riley, Kansas. And after completion of that service, I came back to South Dakota and went to law school. During my time in law school, Operation Iraqi Freedom kicked off, and I found myself back in uniform. I was pulled out of law school in my first year, and what ended up happening is we ended up staying here in the United States at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I was in an artillery unit then at the time, still in an intelligence capacity, and we ended up coming back after enough time that allowed me to catch up with my classmates and still graduate. And so it was after that that I was offered a position as a JAG. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the movie JAG, or the TV show. It's exactly like that. That's a joke. It's not like that at all. So I've been doing that. If for those of you who've ever been to Sioux Falls and you've seen the F-16 fighter jets flying over the city, those are our jets. I've been in that unit since 2007 and been really blessed to serve in that capacity as a military attorney. And then that's a part-time job, so on a civilian full-time basis, I worked in a law firm. I was a private practice lawyer, and so helped individual clients with challenges that they were facing in their life. And then in 2018, a guy by the name of Paul Tenhaken was elected mayor of Sioux Falls, and he sent me an email and asked if I'd be interested in talking to him about becoming the city attorney for Sioux Falls. He's a dork guy, so I had to deal with that. It's another joke. I know where I am. And so I did that, and we became good friends, and I was a lawyer for him and for the city council, and we had some interesting years through COVID and some of the legal challenges that were faced by the city during that time. George Floyd rioting, Dobbs rioting. Dobbs was the U.S. Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, and then we had tornadoes and flooding, and it was a really busy time. And I did that for roughly 5 years until the position I'm in now, which is a cyber-related startup and focused on bringing the cyber industry to South Dakota. So I just told you a lot of things you probably won't remember, right? But I want to talk to you about the law a little bit, okay? And when I bring up the law, you probably think about criminal law first, right? You think about arrests, trials, jail, that sort of thing, right? Diddy? Anyone heard of Diddy? Okay. The media loves that stuff, right? There's a lot of intrigue in that. I hear the rustle going through the crowd. Yeah, the media loves that bad news, right? The reason I want to talk to you about the law a little bit and break this down is because in my private practice, I've helped a lot of people on the criminal side, both in a prosecutorial role and in a defense role, but also on the civil side. And they say lawyers are like dentists, right? You don't go to them until it hurts, And if I can help you avoid some of those difficult circumstances in the next 10 minutes or so, I would be very encouraged to do that as we hope to all advance our shared cause here. So, the media loves the intrigue of criminal law. There are whole channels dedicated to it, right? But there's a whole lot more to the law than that. And think of the law in two contexts, in the criminal side that we talked about, but in the civil side, right? So having encountered some of those things over the years, my first piece of advice to you is do not murder anyone, okay? I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Don't murder anyone, okay? But the first real piece of legal advice I would give you, and this may sound strange, but my first piece of advice is to maintain a biblical basis in your life, right? There is no easier way to say it. A biblical foundation. And so I want to read to you one of my favorite verses. Proverbs 4, verse 7. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Right? Though it costs you all you have, get understanding. So who talks like that? Right? Does the media talk like that? It does not talk like that. So do all those influencers on social media talk like that? They do not. So think about it. Get understanding, though it costs you all you have. Right? That's a pretty high price. Everything. So you may want to make note of that. Right? Do you think if you do that, it'll help you navigate high school? Or do you think it will help you navigate the pitfalls of adulting? I will tell you, it's a bit of a news flash, you do not get an adult card at some point that makes everything understandable and easy, okay? So this is certainly a lifelong thing. Now, we talk about success. It doesn't mean fame, fortune, and all of that worldly type success, right? I mean, is there a more dysfunctional group in our society than Hollywood? I would submit to you that there isn't. Here's another thing the Bible says, Proverbs 30, verse 8 to 19. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise I might disown you and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal and so dishonor the name of my God. So, what else? Addictions, right? Alcohol and drugs, and by drugs I mean illegal drugs and prescription drugs and tobacco, right? You do not have any idea how busy lawyers stay because of addiction, right? It's obvious in certain circumstances, right? Drinking and driving, underage possession, minor possession of alcohol, those types of things. But the second and third order effects of alcohol and drug addiction also exist. And I will tell you this in a military capacity. The vast majority of sexual assaults that occur in our society, including in the military, occur as a result of the involvement of alcohol. Alcohol and drugs, primarily alcohol. And by majority, I mean a vast majority of those, okay? You have to be very, very careful in that respect. And with drugs, illegal drugs, I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, but I will say it, we have a fentanyl epidemic in our country. And what that means is whatever substance, illicit substance that you may find and may have a tendency or an inclination to experiment with it, it can kill you instantly. And I personally know of 2 people that have already died because fentanyl was laced in something that they wanted to experiment with. And it doesn't matter if it's your first time. Take it from me. But it is not just in a criminal context that those things matter. In a civil law context, addiction matters too, right? Divorce, broken homes, parenting children, business disputes. Addiction is a powerful, powerful thing, and it's very hard to overcome. And so from time to time, if you end up drinking over time, that sort of thing, it's legal at a certain point, right? just stop for a while and check yourself. Check yourself for addictions and say, hey, is this a little too much? Or I'm not gonna drink for a month, and see how you feel about that. And the other thing I would tell you is anxiety and depression. All right? That is another thing that haunts people. We have an extremely medicated society, right? Antidepressants and that sort of thing. And one way that you can avoid the struggle with those things is just talk to somebody that you know and you trust, right? Your teenagers, your parents are an option. They're maybe not always your first option, but they are always an option. But I see the faculty and staff around here. You are surrounded by people who are invested in your success, and please avail yourself of those things. Because coming from somebody who's been behind the lawyer's door and seeing the impacts on lives, that simple step can change your life dramatically, and it's worth it. It's worth it. Here's another interesting addiction, gambling. I've had clients who have stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars, embezzled from their employees, just to gamble it away. That's a strange thing, right? But it can be devastating. And in our lifetimes, and arguably in your lifetime, society's perspective on gambling has changed dramatically. And I would point to you, the NFL and the NBA, those major leagues now, are now endorsing gambling and encouraging it, right? Now that did not used to be the case, and that's a recent phenomenon. Again, check yourself for those types of addictions. And I do believe wisdom should guide you around that fool's errand, is really what it is. Social media, right? Speaking of something you've probably heard 1,000 times, but again, take it from my perspective. Never, ever, ever, ever post a naked photo of yourself on social media, okay? And take it from somebody who's now working in the cyber industry. Those things never go away, all right? Young men, do not ever post or share photos online, because if you're at a certain age and that young lady is at a certain age, that's a felony, and it's a sex offense, right? Which means registered sex offender, because you don't get to know what you're shopping around on those things, so please be careful, okay? Don't put too much stock in what you come across on social media, right? Everyone has opinions. Some people feel 100% compelled to share those opinions, often in nasty ways, often in diabolical ways. Just keep that stuff in perspective. Just keep it in perspective. Of course, don't text and drive. Distracted driving is killing people every single day. Don't do that. I know you get that. I know you hear that, but avoiding that is the genuine hard part, and we all understand that. Last legal point, on a positive note, vote. You may be aware we have an election coming up. I understand from Karen, roughly half the senior class is 18. Again, you are an incredibly strategic body of human beings. Your voice should be heard. It's a form of good citizenship, and it's a good form of leadership. So please do that and do it soon. You can do it on election day, or you can vote ahead of time, absentee. Lastly, please know, again, you have a whole body of people who is invested in your success, and I would ask that you include me as one of those people. If I can ever help you, if you ever have any questions, anything I've been involved in or whatever, Karen knows how to reach me, Waylon knows how to reach me. I would be happy to help you, and I do thank you for your time this morning.
Let's stand.
and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Oh, rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through.
Yes,
I'm gonna make it through. I'm standing strong on you. I'm gonna make it through. 'Cause my house was built on you. Christ is my firm foundation. The rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. 'Cause He's never let me down. He's faithful for generations. So why would He fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't.
He won't fail you. Go in peace. Go to your faith backs and enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you.